Okay, so hello everybody, my name is Matej Legat and I'm an application engineer at Exoeti, and I would like to kindly welcome you all to our webinar, Remote Assistance with RealWear Navigator 500. So speakers for today, as I already introduced myself, and I am also very pleased to introduce our guest speaker, Frederic Plasson, who is a regional director for Alps and Eastern Europe at RealWear. So, hi Frederic. Let's look at today's agenda. So first, I'm just going to talk a little bit about Exoeti and RealWear, and then I will give you a little bit information about the RealWear Navigator 500. Then Frederic will take over and he will tell you a little bit more about the device. He will also show us some use cases for remote assistance, some best practices and customer successes. At the end of the webinar, there's going to be a Q&A session. You can always type your questions in the Q&A box or in the chat. At this point, I would like to remind you that the webinar is being recorded and you will get the recording in the next days after the webinar. After the webinar, there's also going to be a survey that is going to pop up in your browser, and we would be very pleased if you would take the time and just answer those few questions. So who are we? We here at Exoeti can provide you with innovative software and hardware solutions from world-leading manufacturers for industrial and energy automation and digitalization. We work with 9 partners. One of them is RealWear, for which we became a distributor in 2019. We work in different areas such as energy and infrastructure, automotive, food and beverage, pharmaceutical, and many others. You can find us in 3 offices, in Ljubljana, Zagreb, and Belgrade. And from there, we cover the market of 8 countries, from Slovenia to North Macedonia. And in this region, we have more than 500 customers. Founded in 2016, RealWear is a company that produces voice-controlled, ruggedized head-mounted tablets for industry workers. The company also develops software, cloud, and AI solutions for the heavy industry. RealWear Navigator 500 is a device that transcends tablets and smart glasses. Why? Because it is smarter than glasses with more processing power, a longer lasting battery, a better camera, and it's also more robust. All of this while being just as powerful as a tablet, but you can only control it by your voice, so your hands are always 100% free. The device can be used in numerous industries and environments, both indoors and outdoors. For example, in power and utilities, in manufacturing, in construction, in automotive industry, and many other industries. Now we're going to take a quick look at some use cases. The first one is digital workflow, which is very useful because workers can see tasks or how to perform tasks on a step-by-step principle. Workers can also take notes and make reports while they're doing the job, so they don't have to do it afterwards. And the administrator in the company can get the report in real time. The device can also be used for training and remote assistance. For example, if a worker has a problem with a machine that he cannot fix himself, he can always ask for help an expert in the company headquarters or basically anywhere in the world, and together they can fix the problem. With data IoT visualization, workers can see in real time information about a certain process or machine. For example, they can see in real time pressure on pumps, RPMs of an electric motor, for example, or a liquid, the amount of liquid in a tank. Here the possibilities are really endless. The device can also be used for on-demand training. This is very helpful for new workers because they can get access to high-quality videos and photos that can be taken in the first-person view. And on-demand training also eliminates the need of an expert worker to always be present with new workers, because the new workers can get any information at any time just by looking on the device. The device can also be used to take high-quality pictures in hard-to-reach places. such as tunnels, towers, or behind the large machines and equipment. The document navigator is a very useful out-of-the-box function because workers don't have to bring those large amount of papers with them on the site. They can just upload all the documents that they need, for example, plans or instruction manuals, certain documents. They can just upload it to the device. And when they arrive to the site of work, they don't have to use their hands to hold the instructions, but they can work simultaneously with the machine and look at the documentation. The device can also be used for inspections, audits, acceptance testing, verification, validation, and commissioning. At this point, maybe you don't see how you could use the device in your company or just don't see any useful use case. This is where we come in because we can help you find the best way to use the device to optimize your working process and cut costs. We can offer you one-to-one presentation, technical support, free testing, and the device is also a freeware device, which means that free apps can be installed on it. For example, Zoom or Microsoft Teams. But for more advanced functionalities, we can also offer you a software called Prokizia. This would be everything from my part for now, and I would just like to again kindly invite Frederic to join us, and he will give us some more information about the device and also a little bit about use cases from the industry. So, Frederic, the word is yours.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. My name is Akte. I'm going to start sharing my screen. So my name is Frederic Plasson. As you kindly introduced me, I am responsible for RealWear in Switzerland, Austria, and all of Eastern Europe, meaning the Balkan as well, the countries where Exor ETI is our trusted reseller and partner. I am going today to illustrate a little bit the topics that Matej already nicely introduced today for you, and just give a few examples. We are going to talk a little bit about with additional information about industry use cases. I'm going to give a few examples of customers who have actually realized project with us, realizing exactly the use cases Matej introduced today. We are going to have a special focus on remote assistance, which is of course the topic of our session today. I'm going to have the possibility to show you different kind of videos if we have time. For this purpose, I would like at this moment then to when I'm going to prompt you to tell us in the chat maybe which kind of video you would prefer to see. So please stay put and stay ready. And of course, we will have at the end some time for Q&A, for questions, for comments, for any support you would need. And to illustrate all what we're going to say, while we are talking about the use case, I am actually going to do a live demo of our device. Yeah? So the first thing you are going to see, I'm going to remove the screen from my item sites. So this is going to illustrate exactly what we are talking about in a moment, that actually the device is there when you need it and completely disappears when you don't need it. Now, as a matter of maybe a short introduction with the specific or the most important aspects for our session today, is that we consider ourselves as a platform for knowledge transfer, which is providing the first-line workers or frontline workers, as we call them as well, all the information they need in a specific situation of work. And we provide as well training in the field, all of this to improve the competency, the productivity of your employees. All of this with an increased safety, of course, because for exactly the reason I was mentioning, you have a device on your head with a camera and a little screen, but actually you permanently have the possibility to have your full environment in full sight, hence enhanced security. Also, as we will say, completely compatible with all personal protective equipment. Hence, you do not need to remove gloves to activate a device, etc. And the main word here, which Mate already said a few times, which is the key to everything, is that the device is hands-free. So on this, I'm going to use the short video here as a matter of introduction to our topic. And please let me know if it's appearing on screen. No, it is not. Seconds, need to leave presenter mode. And now you should see my slides. Mate, can you confirm?
Yeah, we can see it, yeah. Just put your presentation, you had it in presenter mode. Can you please just put it in normal mode, because we can see your notes and next slides.
Are you still see my, okay, this is not the objective. You were supposed to see the rotating slides. You don't see it?
Yeah, now we can see it, yeah. But before this, yeah, okay, now we can see it.
Okay, so on this slide, actually, you are going to see a few technical specifications of the device. I'm going to play the video 2 or 3 times while I make a few comments on the device. And so let me tell you actually a few things that you do not see on this slide. So first of all, our device, the RealWear Navigator 500, is not to be confused with virtual reality, which is the concept that most people are associating with everything assisted augmented reality, like for instance some HoloLens and so on, which are the most known devices here. Our device is basically an Android tablet that sits on the head of the field worker, and it is seen, despite the size of the screen, which appears small to you now, it is seen like a tablet which you would be holding at arm's length. It has a great variety of very powerful software applications from our solution partners, one of them, for instance, being Brocasia, but also, and this is important to point out, any kind of software you might need for your work, and XRETI is able to support you in integrating these applications with our device as well, if it is needed for your workflows. So, as we said, all of these applications are completely optimized for the device, and the device is 100% voice commanded, and because of this, hands-free. Voice command meaning that you use only your voice to activate and to command the device. And I'm going to make a short demo in just a few moments for you to visualize what we are meaning with this. So this is very important, because this means that if your workers are using a device like a smartphone, like a tablet or a laptop while they are working, if they are using actually our device, they are no more scrolling on the screen, they are no more swiping, and of course they are not tapping or typing on the laptop, because they can do everything with their voice. So you can use it for all the use cases Mate has already mentioned before, and which I am going to elaborate on a little bit more in detail just in a few moments. Concerning the industries, I wanted to add one comment from me. You saw this very comprehensive slide of Mate with a large variety of industries. And indeed, the device has been first conceived for use in heavy industry. But we can also, or we start to use it in more and more other industries or fields of activities, like, for instance, to give you 2 examples of industries or fields of activity that have nothing to do with heavy industry. We have more and more customers using the device, for instance, for facility management, or actually in medicine and healthcare. We have lots of hospitals, as an example, in a country which is in a conflict right now, just in Eastern Europe, and we are supporting hospitals there who are using the device to do remote telemedicine, where some surgeons are connecting during the surgery using the device, connecting to some other specialized surgeons who are in a military hospital, for instance, or based somewhere completely else in the world. Why? Because these surgeons are not all specialized for the kind of injuries that patients these days are having in this country. So this is a good illustration of why we talk about knowledge transfer, because somebody who is a professional worker, but maybe not completely 100% specialized in what he needs to do just at this one moment, is able to become an expert actually by using our device and to connecting either to data, to information, to work comments, or to a person from his team who is actually highly specialized in this domain. So in this country, the hospitals use it for the case study, but they are also using it when we are talking about training, about permanent development. And so they are using as well for remote mentee and remote mentor when surgeons are performing surgeries to teach students, and they stream the surgery live at university to students who are watching it, or actually some medical students who are actually performing kind of I don't want to say training surgeries, because you imagine them just doing funny things on the patient, but actually they are doing real surgery under the supervision of an expert surgeon. So this just to illustrate these training and mentoring capabilities. Yeah? So coming back to the story of this device, yeah? All of these use cases we were mentioning, you are able to perform them now without any compromise on health and safety and productivity and efficiency, because first, the first reason, users do, you already guess it, they do not need to concentrate on their device while working in environments, and it is particularly valid if they are working in a dangerous environment. We are just talking about very hot machines, for instance, machines with very strong power going on, or machines which are moving. If you imagine, if you visualize this automotive big production halls with lots of automatic machines moving around, etc. Also because the screen, as you see, just fits below my my line of sight, so it is not disturbing what I'm seeing when I'm using it. And if I don't need it, I just remove it to the back, and actually I'm not disturbed at all anymore. The second reason is that the device is completely compatible with any personal protective equipment. And this is meaning that you can use it with helmets, with sight protection, with ear protection, and also, this is very important, with gloves. And I have seen customers, they have gloves bigger than the gloves of a football goalkeeper. Of course, with such kind of gloves, it is very difficult to operate a device. With our device, you just use your voice, as I'm going to demonstrate in just a second. Yeah? But first, I wanted to emphasize once again these concepts that Mate has been introducing at the very beginning. Yeah? That we consider ourselves, as I said, as a platform that gives you access to all the tools that you need to do actually a more efficient, more productive job. Yeah? So we are talking here about software, digital workflows, we said, and more important for more and more companies, IoT. Yeah? All this in the tough industrial environments. And the question you can ask yourself, for instance, is if you are already using, for instance, cooperation with XR ETL, or if you are already using power software of any kind, or if you are using Teams or TeamViewer, Zoom, WebEx, or all of these collaboration tools already, yeah, you are using these softwares or these concepts because you, as a company, of course, see a value in using these concepts. With our device, you can maximize this value by scaling these benefits to more users, more use cases, where it would not be possible until today for the reasons we already mentioned. So, and of course, if you don't have such users yet, so this kind of concepts, you can actively learn on how to increase productivity, efficiency, with added security and safety, talking to EXA, ETA, and together with us, and reach all these benefits anywhere, anytime, and this for all of the users in your company, in your organization, thanks to our RealWear device. Now, to put it in other words, using remote assistant software on RealWear, on the RealWear Navigator 500, allows your organization to have all of your workers to operate the software. Also, these will usually need their hands to fully operate the machines, their tasks, and so on, and cannot handle a laptop or a smartphone while they are working, simply because, I mean, you see it on screen now, I have two hands. If one of them is busy with a smartphone, mathematically speaking, I have only one hand left to perform a task, hold a tool, or whatever. No? Or simply, you can have those workers who already use this kind of devices or power software to be more efficient, productive by using both their hands, as we said. And we permanently emphasize, because it's so important for so many companies, the security and safety, which are increased. And one of the very main use cases here, when you do remote assistance with our device, if you have more possibilities to do remote assistance, you are going to save, for instance, this painful topic of traveling costs for on-site experts, or you are going to reduce, of course, drastically, and we're going to come back to this in a moment, the downtime of some heavy machinery. So one question I like to ask now, and of course you don't need to answer here, but if I am to ask you, if you have machines or some processes in your organization, what happens if one of these machines or processes is actually down for 1 hour, 3 hours, 5 hours, or maybe a day or two, until a specialized expert is coming on location to fix this machine? Does it have any consequence on the rest of the production of your company, of the services you are providing? If yes, and I suppose it does, if not, I would be skeptical about your answer, but usually it does. And if it does, the question is simply, how much does it cost you? We have lots of customers, small ones, big ones, who tell us that the amount of money this costs them and downtime costs them per hour. And then you just realize if you can reduce drastically this time of fixing an issue or optimizing some processes, most of our customers tell us, I don't know if you can guess it, the return on investment is usually reached after 1 month. For lots of our customers, it is reached after the very first travel of an expert to solve a specific issue. So,
Frederic, just one thing. Can you maybe share the other? You probably have two screens, because we see your presenter mode of the slides. Can you share the other mode?
I don't know what you mean with other mode. You don't see my full screen?
No, we see presenter mode of your PowerPoint presentation.
Yes, I am in, and I don't know why this is. Maybe this one? No, neither. So I'm in presenter mode. This is why I usually should be sharing exactly this. So I don't know how to do it. Because if you see,
Okay, it's okay. Don't worry. It's okay. Just go on.
yeah, are you sure? Good.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, because earlier you saw the full presentation on full screen, right? Or you saw my anyway. I'm just going to continue that. Yeah. So Mate has elaborated in detail about two of the use cases which are actually natively available on our device. The document navigator and the visual assist. So I'm not going to explain once again in detail what they are meaning because Mate did already, but I am going to show you briefly how this actually works. And for this, I'm going to go in a software. Mate, can you tell me, you see the Explorer?
Yes, we can see it perfectly.
So the RealWear Explorer is a software you can use for basic handling of your tool if you are in front of your own laptop, or I am using it for demo purposes just to mirror the screen I have here in front of my eyes, and just to mirror it on the screen of my laptop. So what you are seeing here is exactly what I see as well. And I'm going to demonstrate you now how to access, for instance, some documents in the use case of Documents Navigator. So for this, I just say My Files. You see, with a very simple voice command, I activated this menu here. I am using my head to navigate this folder because, of course, I don't have my hands to use a mouse. So I just do it using my head. And I can always say either the voice command I see on the screen. So in this case, it would be the word command My Documents, which you see right now. By the way, you just noticed, if I am saying the voice command within a sentence, the device is not reacting to the voice command. Why is this? Because sometimes I need to say some words. I'm in a conversation with someone and I don't want the device to jump from one menu to the other just because I'm speaking. But if I say the voice command, or you see a little gray circle next to the item I can select with the number in it. So I can also just say select item 2, and it's going to open the folder with the different documents. So now we are exactly seeing what Mate was describing us a moment ago with the Document Navigator. I will just say select item 5. And now I am opening a very complex electric switchboard. So now imagine you are the worker who is in front of a complex machinery and he has to perform a task on this complex electric switchboard. He can now, without having to open a manual or without holding a smartphone or a tablet or a laptop and so on, he can now very simply access this document. I'm going to do zoom level 3 in order to zoom into the document. And once I found the place I need in the document, I can even zoom more, zoom level 4. Once I found this place, I just say freeze window. And once the window is frozen, I can start moving my head, as you see on the screen, and the document is not moving anymore. Right now, I'm looking at this at the screen of the RealWear Navigator 500, and I see this document extremely clearly, extremely sharply, and I can perform my task using both of my hands while keeping my environment under control as well. If I have several documents here, I can navigate from one to the other by, say, for instance, view next. And I'm going to open just the next document. And of course, we could perform the same task that we did just before. So this was the short demonstration of the Document Navigator. Navigate back. I just opened this folder here because I want to show you that actually the documents you can navigate can be my demo documents or the technical assets you are saying, or for instance, you can go to My Photos and you can access several photos that are already saved in the document, for instance, in the folder Camera. You would see pictures I have been doing I've been doing over the last days. And I could, of course, use each of these pictures for my daily work. Navigate home. Navigate home. One other very important feature, of course, this is relating to the use case visual assist, is the usage of the camera. I'm just going to illustrate it very briefly by saying my camera. And actually now you see exactly what I see. So you see, for instance, the reason why there is a little bit of confusion with all the screens. And so you see that I have several screens installed, and one being the presenter mode on this big screen here. You see very precisely everything. I'm just going to illustrate the zoom capacity here. Zoom level 3, zoom level 5. So just for your information, these letters you see on screen are more than 4 meters away from me. And they are on a big screen, of course, but you can easily read everything. If I am actually looking down at some notes I had before, you see that we have a very strong accuracy. If I have a document, we have some zoom level 1, zoom level 1, navigate back, no, navigate home. We have some customers in Switzerland in the luxury industry who asked us for a very precise 5mm accuracy. They're using the device to show their work to some team leaders who are located somewhere else. And they are about 30 to 40 centimeters above the task they are performing. And actually they told us they have an accuracy of 1 to 2 millimeters, which they can work in their very precise environment with very, very small tools. So just to illustrate the power of this camera. One last thing I wanted to show here, because we are going to talk as well about remote assistant, for which of course you need the software we were talking about earlier. Just to illustrate how extremely easy it is to access any kind of software, you are going to see that if I want, for instance, to enter Teams, I just need 2 voice commands, and it takes 3 to 4 seconds, and I am in Teams. I'm just going to say my programs, Teams, and I'm in. And I think this is an impressive showcase of what we can do, because it shows how simple the device is to use and how simply you can integrate any kind of applications. Navigate home, navigate home. And with this, I would finish the demo for today. I'm going to switch back to my slides. If, of course, there are some questions, we're going to go back to them in just a moment. I suppose you still don't see my full screen. So, okay, so we talked about Document Navigator and Visual Assist, which are natively out of the box on the device, meaning you do not need to, when you receive the device first time, you can already start using these 2 methods. Now we are going to spend a few minutes talking about remote expert guidance, remote assistance, which is the topic of today's webinar. Of course, the topic is self-explanatory, so I'm just going to go very quickly over the bullet points you see here. This use case allows you, of course, to easily connect with subject matter experts in real time from anywhere using optimized video collaboration within the very strong camera, for instance. And it allows remote experts to actually see what you see. For instance, Ford in the US, who is doing a very large deployment with several hundred devices in the US these days. You can find their video on YouTube. They call it exactly "see what I see" to illustrate the fact that the frontline worker, the mechanic, is actually allowing remote experts to see what they are seeing. They are troubleshooting issues and get training and instructions. This, of course, increases productivity, but we already talked about downtime of equipment and, of course, obviously drastically saving travel time and costs. So I have here two stories that we could show to illustrate all of this. I see we have about 12 minutes left. So I would suggest we spend a tiny bit of time with these two stories. At the end of the webinar, if we have plenty of time left, we could show the videos. But just the story here to illustrate that important companies, but also lots of smaller companies are using this use case of remote assistance in very complex environments and with drastic geographic distances sometimes, and with very, very specialized use cases. So for instance, in Turkey, the main dealerships of Mercedes, actually official Mercedes dealership in Turkey, use TeamViewer on our software on our device to access to remote assistance for maintenance in 56 service centers spread all over the country. Turkey is a large country, as we know, and traveling from one side to the other, what usually is meaning that if a customer had a very complex situation or one of the service centers, some of the experts based in Ankara had actually to jump on a plane to go support on site. So you can imagine that the cost of travel, the time needed to fix the problem, and so on. There's an interesting fact here. When I told you at the beginning that there is almost no limit in the application fields you can have for our device, most of our customers, once they get customized to the device, start to elaborate or to develop their own application fields for the device. So in this case, Mercedes is also using the device for something that Porsche is doing for a long time in their biggest dealership in southern Germany and at the Bodensee. They are actually, when a customer is coming, they wanted to provide him the possibility to follow live the check of the car when it's arriving at the Porsche dealership. And they are installing the customer on a comfortable sofa with a glass of champagne and giving him the possibility to follow live what the mechanic is actually performing on their own car. Another example here is Total, who connects experts and frontline workers on different continents for machine maintenance. So I would suggest you look at the video later on as well, because it shows in an impressive way how you can really perform these, optimize all this problem-solving situation in real time, extremely fast and efficiently, even if the experts are several thousand kilometers away. So two topics which are left here: data IoT visualization, self-explanatory, and Matej already talked about it, allowing actually to provide real-time data needed when operating, inspecting, or maintaining equipment. And Matej already gave some examples here. The good thing is that it's actually contextually relevant information that can be needed, of course, for specific tasks, which is available here. And the training, I think we talked enough about this, so I'm going to switch this aspect here. You see the bullet points on screen. The main point of this slide is the two last use cases I really want to emphasize. A digital workflow, as Matej explained at the beginning, is a series of work instructions the worker, your employee, can see on the screen to making sure that we are completely sure nothing is going to be forgotten. Everything he's doing can be documented. Let's take the example of a facility manager I was talking about just at the beginning. He's entering the production hall, the factory, in the evening, and he needs to check several things. For instance, the different doors. He needs to check if the first door, for instance, he sees a menu on his screen, check On your left, there will be a door. Why? Because the device can be can have 3D mapping of the factory, so the device will know automatically where you are in the factory at this very specific moment, and can give you instructions on what to do at this very specific place. It can, by the way, also warn you that, for instance, you are passing by a very hot box, please keep your distance. But if this facility manager is now coming to the door, he can get the instruction, please check if the door is locked from the inside and the outside. He checks, he gets the task to confirm yes or no, and he might be asked to take a picture. For instance, for fire escape doors, these doors cannot be locked from the inside. They need to be locked from the outside. So one customer of ours puts the additional task in the digital workflow, which is on the screen, to take a short picture of him opening the door from the inside, to save it in the process, and then to confirm that the door is not locked from the inside. All of these puts basically all of these things you can do with the other use cases together in this digital workflow. This drastically reduces operational errors because the machine tells you what to perform in which way. It enables you to make sure that all the documentation needed for a process is actually exactly where it should be and can be checked at any moment in the future. And it allows you to perform all your tasks, even if it is a long tour in the factory in the middle of the night as a security agent, to perform these tasks extremely faster. Our customers, in average, tell us that the time they save since they are using the device, not only because their hands are free and they are able to move faster and to repair and fix things faster, but also because of the digital workflows, they reduce the time for work by, in average, 60 to 80 or 85% of time. In the case of this facility manager, you have to imagine that until now he was working, he had a notepad on paper, which he had to read, he had to mark his notes on it to confirm everything. When he had to take a picture, he usually took a smartphone. Then at the end of the tour, which lasted about 45 minutes, he had to go to the office and to type in everything, to connect the device by USB to the PC, to download the pictures to his report. And this, of course, lasted a long time. They realized one thing: while the security agent was doing all this, he was actually not verifying the security monitoring screens of the factory, and he was not in the factory floor himself. So there was actually a security breach violation due to this, and since they used the device, all of these issues are, of course, solved. One last aspect here. I like to ask our customers, as I did before, about the costs, for instance, of downtime or the travel cost for an expert who is coming to fix a problem. I like also to ask the question, who of you likes audits or inspections and so on? Let it be internal audits for quality process and so on, or worse, external audits performed by an administration or one of your customers. If you are performing all your tasks in a digital workflow, the report can be completely finished at the moment when the frontline worker, when your employee actually finishes his task. And by the click of a button, you can have this report completely available and use for whatever use you need it. We have a nice customer story, and this will take just 2 minutes 30, as you see, and then we are going to be finished with our presentation here. It's our customer Rail Cargo from ÖBB, the Austrian National Railway. They have been putting all the different use cases they need: remote assistance with instruction sharing, access to data, access to documents, maintenance, control, and remote collaboration. They have been including all of this in a digital workflow which they have implemented together with their reseller. And the examples you are going to see here are things that you can actually realize with Excel ETI as well. I'm just going to launch the video here. And you are going to see in the video that the lady is actually working in a very tough environment. She's standing in the rain. We mentioned this before in the story. I could have added that the device is not only waterproof, dust-proof, it is also working in very tough environments, temperature-wise, from -20 to +50 degrees. Yeah? It is the most rugged device on the market. To illustrate this, I can just show you, I'm hitting it on the table here, the most sensitive part, the screen. I do this in absolute confidence because we know it's almost unbreakable. Yeah? So now to the video. You are going to see that the lady is working in this environment, as I said. She's in the rain, she's in front of the trains, and because she's in front of the train, automatically the data she needs to collect is integrated in the workflow. The data she sees is transferred into the reports and to the next task she has to perform. Then because of a problem, she's going to connect to a remote colleague in the control center. And you are going to see that he's helping her. At the end, look at what happens when the person reaches the Wi-Fi of the company again. And there's a full synchronization taking place of everything she's been doing in front of the train. And this report is automatically sent to the control manager, who doesn't need to put all pictures together, pieces of text and so. Everything is already nicely in place, and he can save the document and show it to anyone who needs it. And now, start of the video. Actually, do you hear the sound? I don't think so. I'm just going to share again, but this time with the sound. Okay. Matej, if we don't hear the sound, please let me know. Otherwise, I just...
No, everything is okay. Everything is perfect.
Start inspection. Number of wagons, 10. Confirm. Open camera. Take photo. Open anomaly. Open camera. Take photo. Enter code 322.
There's one additional aspect that I forgot to mention here, is the very strong noise cancellation. You hear the rain, the wind in the environment where the lady is working. Look at when she's connecting to her colleague in the control center, he hears only her voice and nothing else, because the device is filtering out all the surrounding noises and shows only the voice of the user of the device.
Call support. I'm performing an inspection on a train, and there's a strong smell coming from the third wagon.
Show me the wagon number and the labels of dangerous goods. It's ethyl acrylate, a class 3 flammable liquid. The UN number is 1917. See. Let me check the safety distance. To be safe, stay upwind, 14 meters from the wagon. I'm sharing with you the safety data sheet. Toxicological information is in section 11.
Close inspection.
Blitz ein. Rail Cargo Anwendung starten. Inspektion starten. Blitz aus.
So I hope that this illustration was useful, and I would say I am finished with my part here. We would be going over to Q&A if you have some questions. So Mate, up to you.
Okay, so thank you, Frederic, for this nice presentation. And just like you said, we're now going to dive into the Q&A. So the first question is, how do you install apps on the device?
So this is very easy. So you can either use a very simple mobile device management tool, which is delivered with the device for free. It's called Foresight. Or you can easily also, you remember the tool I had, the RealWear Explorer. You can just drag and drop device applications, also documents, by the way, onto the device. Does this answer the question?
Yeah, I think that this is okay. Okay, and the second question is, how do you use the device if there is no Wi-Fi?
Very good question indeed, because for some of the use cases to connect remotely, you need internet, of course. So there is lots of possibilities. My favorite one is that my device is usually connected to the hotspots of my smartphone. So the two devices know each other. As soon as I activate the hotspot on my phone, the hotspot is detected on my Navigator 500 and I can use it. We also have the possibility to attach a little dongle here. I actually have it somewhere, but I forgot to fix it. Anyway, it's a little dongle you fix here and you put in this USB-C port in which you put a SIM card, and basically you are creating your own hotspots for the device. Huh?
Okay, let me check if there is any more question that came in while you were answering. Okay, so we have another question. So what is the price range? And are there some licenses or similar things?
So concerning the price range, I would suggest to talk to your reseller in person of Mate in this case. Yeah. But concerning the licenses, yeah, there is no license needed to use the device. Yeah. Because the applications are natively on it, but as soon as you need an additional software, the classical example would be Teams. You need, of course, the license to use your Microsoft Teams. In a case of Microsoft Teams, it's kind of a free application because most of us already have a Microsoft account, hence a Teams license. But if you do anything as TeamViewer, Broadcaster, and so on, there is some licensing costs then.
Okay, thank you, Frederic. And I think that this is all the questions that we received. So we're just going to move to the last slide of today's webinar. And at this point, I would like to thank you again, Frederic, for coming today, for taking the time to show us all of these use cases from the industries. And before we part ways, I would just like to remind you of a few things. So after the webinar, there's going to be a survey that is going to pop up in your browser, and we would be very pleased if you could take the time and answer the questions. And you will also get in the following days a mail where you will get the recording and also a link to the where you can schedule the one-to-one presentation. And there we can also discuss the freeze testing of your device. So we will find the best way to implement it in your working process. If you have any questions, you can always contact us on the email that you see on the screen. And thank you again all for your attention. And I wish you have a very nice weekend. And I also wish that we will see you soon on a one-to-one presentation. So have a nice weekend and see ya.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.